Welcome back to round 2 of PSGL, and as you can see we are here in Bahrain. We're just about to start a qualifying lap. We did already one on the medium tyres and set a time enough for P10, and now we're going to go on for one lap with the softs. It's quite an interesting race. Obviously you'll see later on a couple of things happen, a couple of incidences, but we won't spoil it too bad. Pretty good lap so far, not too many mistakes. Sector 1 was decent for me. Moving into the second sector, we seem to just not get this corner really that well. We keep missing the apex and a little bit of wheel spin as well. That's the sort of routine what happens with me for this. And then through turn 10, I believe that is, losing the rear again. We are up 4/10, almost 5/10 this lap, going into the end of sector 2 after the long straight. We have an okay second sector, but there is still a lot of time on the table. Now, we finished the second sector, we're up 3/10 to P8, but about half a second. We lose a little bit of time on the exit onto turn 3. But going into the final corner, I think we do okay on the final exit. Seems like there's a little bit of traffic that we had. That car goes into the pits, and then we set in time good enough for P7. I mean, it's alright. Bahrain's not my strongest track, but we seem to be doing A-OK on it. But now we move on to the second lap. And this is quite towards the end, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, towards the end of qualifying. I don't know why the timer for it isn't on there. We go a little bit wide and we mess it up. I think the time is behind the follower button, but we tried to go back into the pits, and yeah, the moment I went into the pits, as you can hear me say, not going to have enough time. The moment we go into the pits, I sort of realised that. But anyway, I think we qualified 10th overall, so it's okay. But we'll see how the race sort of develops. Yeah, I don't think I've got enough time. No, you do not. I need to adjust my recording a little bit slightly as well, so it's the follower thing doesn't show up when I have it ready for YouTube videos, but we don't have enough time, so we retire from the session. And going through the loading screen, we can obviously tell in a second that I think we're P10. Big mistake, obviously coming out the final corner, got a little bit too eager on the throttle. P10 with a 130.333, and now we head into the race. We get a good start off the line. Obviously, one of the things that you probably could tell that the time of day is incorrect. It should have been night time. That is something that the division needs to focus a bit on and get in the right settings. But we do a nice little dive into turn 1, which takes us up to 6th place. So that's 4 positions gained. Is it 4 positions? I think it's 4 positions. Basically, we've gone up to P6. And the first sector is nice and clean. Nothing really sort of happens at the start of the race, but we just settle into like a little rhythm. One of the things that I did notice throughout this race and the setup that I had on was that my rears kept either sliding or wheel spinning. And as you can see, there's a little bit of inconsistencies with the connection. Got a hash just appearing, and now Alfa Romeo going off for dinner down the side, and now we try to overtake the Alfa Romeo. I can't remember if we did. I think we did, but we move over to lap 5. Nothing really's happened. We're still in P5, so we did overtake the the Haas. Sorry, little bit of a mistake here from Mark, and we move into P4. I don't think we hold on to it that long, because I think he comes in for a big lunge into turn 1, and he holds on to the position, I believe. We tried to do a little switch back, but we didn't really get the momentum or the traction going out of that sector, that corner, sorry. Now we move over to lap 9, we're P6, falling a little bit behind. We've got a nice big gap, but Mark here gets another slide, and me and the McLaren are literally side by side. I have to sort of give up a little bit of wheel spin from going over the curb. But now in lap 12 we've got Kevin behind us, and Kevin here is about to send it down the inside, and I think we get slightly pushed off based on a little bit of contact. And then the Aston Martin just goes through of Josh to P5, and we drop down to P6. Nothing really much that we can do there. We used a lot of the battery. Fuel is quite on the limit. I think I went exact amount of fuel. But here's the first incident. Josh lagging a little bit, and we make contact. But that rejoin is a little bit dirty, in my opinion, but I don't think he got penalised for that. We hold on for a couple of more laps with our damaged front wing, and we pit into lap 14 going into 15. Perfectly slowed down there, and we're going to put on the medium tyres. We're going to replace the front wing as well. Time isn't that great, but we need to try and get the most that we can out of these tyres basically. And one of the things that I did notice was that a lot of damage was done to the rear tyres at the end of that first stint. I don't think I really showed it up, but going into lap 17 we get a virtual safety car. One of the things that I did notice was a lot of wear on the rear tyres, so we need to sort of manage our wheel spin and traction out of corners. And now going into the end of the safety car, we are going to floor it. We've got a good moment of when the safety car is basically ending, and the virtual safety car has ended. I've crossed the line. I didn't have a delta, and so the lobby was sort of glitched a little bit. But now we've got a little fight with Chris GLT and in the Williams. And towards the end of this race, we sort of kept going forwards and backwards, trading positions. He's used up quite a lot of his ERS, but that's our teammate Andy, VRL Andy, in the wall. Same sort of mistake that quite a few drivers have made. I saw throughout the race when looking back at clips, and got the safety car. Everybody changed to soft tyres, and now we're going into the final 3 laps, of racing. Nothing really happened in that first lap, but we sort of dropped a little bit back. There was a couple of incidences into turn 1 and 2 where we lost momentum and we just lost the traction to the pack, and they just slowly pulled away. But we overtook Chris again going into the final lap. We held on to the position, and it's just losing that rear with half throttle. It's a silly mistake, but that's one of the things that was sort of common in this race, where I just was struggling so much with the rear, the wheel spin and sliding. But that is pretty much it. We finish P8, I think it was, for PSGL, and I think we are going to Silverstone next week, so hopefully we have a much better race. I have a few more setups for that, but we'll see you next week.